Hi, welcome to the channel. Today's video is titled The Captivating History of Scotland. History of Scotland Explained. Interesting. We're going to check this video together and I love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in. Now,
This video is brought to you by Captivating History. The history of modern-day Scotland is a complex tale. This nation has been subject to numerous attempted invasions, has continuously had to define itself in relation to its neighbors, and has a vibrant and rich culture steeped in myth and mysticism that reflects its inhabitants' complicated story. Along the way, there have been plenty of wars, fascinating stories of powerful monarchs and noble clansmen, engaging warriors like William Wallace and Robert the Bruce, and enlightened philosophers changing the political landscape. Whether you're a veritable expert in all things Scots, or you know little beyond tartan, Highland toffee, and Burns's Night tributes,
I think this is an ad. Oh, it's not.
all things Scots, or you know little beyond tartan, Highland toffee, and Burns's Night tributes, let's delve a little deeper into the history of this compelling nation. The earliest evidence we have of settlement in what is now Scotland is from around 3000 BCE. These early
Wow.
Mesolithic settlers were fishermen and hunters, probably reaching the area by an ancient land bridge from continental Europe. By the early 2nd millennium BCE, there is evidence of farming, cultivating cereal crops, and keeping cattle and sheep, with settlements found along the west coast and as far north as Shetland. Most conventional histories of Scotland will start their story around the time the Romans came into contact with the British Isles. The Romans invaded Britain in the 1st century AD, adding southern Britain to their empire as the province Britannia. Here is the first instance of a running theme of myth-making in which the Scottish people take great pride in having never been truly invaded, claiming a warrior-like spirit that runs deep in popular consciousness. The Romans could not subdue the North's fierce tribes, eventually building a long line of fortifications from sea to sea across the island of Britannia under Emperor Hadrian. Parts of Hadrian's Wall remain to this day. This is
Wow.
referred to in the nation's foundation myth, though it would be wrong to think of the land above Hadrian's Wall as a united Scottish nation during Roman times or even beyond.
Let me ask. The wall, the is it the Hadrian's wall? Part of it, like the narrator said, part of it remains today. So I've got to ask. So the wall is created as a boundary, or is it like a boundary or like a land demarcation or something? What is the land? What is the wall? Or what area is the wall placed or built on or built? Is it to differentiate the land between England and um Scotland or what? I want to know. I want to know.
Scotland is derived from the Latin word Scotia, which means land of the Scots. The
Oh,
Scots were a Celtic people of Irish origins who settled on the west coast of Great Britain. However, these were not the only tribe to occupy lands north of the Wall, where a wide range of cultures and languages could be observed, from Caledonians to Celts and Picts. Scottish became the lingua franca over a period of time, but had to coexist with Celtic, Gaelic, and Scandinavian languages. As the Roman Empire collapsed, four main groups emerged that eventually united to form Scotland's kingdom: the Picts, the Celts, the Britons, and the Anglos. From diverse backgrounds and dominating different regions, we know relatively little about this period of Scottish history. However, it is challenging to understand Scottish identity without an appreciation for this idea of a tribal melting pot. Local, regional, and dynastic identities and affiliations had more meaning and relevance than any notion of national identity during this tribal period. Identities were formed based on the specific physical geography that individuals, families, and clans found themselves in. Scotland's terrain is mostly rugged and subject to weather extremes, evoking a poetic mysticism deeply ingrained in the fiercely unique cultures of Scottish tribes. This relationship to the land is still very relevant to Scottish identity today.
You know one thing, or why I like checking videos like this, because previously we just checked a video talking about the history of Scotland, right? And every side of history I've got its own details in, like different details, right? And whilst I also love the other one, I also love this one with the way they like kind of share base and shared some things that maybe the other narrator or the other video that I checked missed. And this is why I love to check more than one info one to like get enough information, if that makes sense, right?
In 843, Kenneth MacAlpin became king of the Picts.
Mm.
On assuming the throne, he crushed any resistance on his way to forming the Kingdom of Alba, the precursor to the realm of Scotland. He was named King Kenneth I of Scots. A critical
Kenneth the
factor in the
first.
forming of a more unified kingdom was probably the increasingly threatening Viking raids. As the English kingdom was consolidated around this time, its kings, responding to attacks from the Vikings, found it useful to have an alliance of convenience with Alba. Here is another step in the cult of defense mythmaking, as unity was forged in the spirit of repelling enemies, this time the Vikings. An intriguing element of Celtic tradition is the form of succession called tanistry. A king could be succeeded by any male member of a family group of 4 generations. Sometimes a successor would be named in his predecessor's lifetime. Any expert of history will spot the potential for untoward practices here, and your predictions would be correct. This often led to many successions by the killing of one's predecessor. This is covered in Shakespeare's Macbeth, a fictionalized account of a real historical figure.
Wait, what? The tragedy of Macbeth? Is it the same Macbeth we read, or there's another one? Because I know I read Macbeth. Tragedy of Macbeth. Nah, I'm gonna check this book. I remember growing up, we read a lot of Shakespeare's book. Midsummer Night Dream. I remember that one. I'm trying to remember some of the books. How the hell did I forget? I remember Macbeth. I remember. Oh my god. Oh my god. Sherlock. Something. 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 No way. No way. I did not just forget that. I'm so ashamed of myself. My mom should not see me, hear me, or hear that I've forgotten lots of the books of or lots of the Shakespeare books that I've read. My mom should not hear this because I'm so ashamed of myself. I need to go read some more. What? Wait, it said it was explained here. Did I get that right? Wait.
Potential for untoward practices here, and your predictions would be correct. This often led to many successions by the killing of one's predecessor. This is covered in Shakespeare's Macbeth, a fictionalized account of a real historical figure. Macbeth killed his cousin Duncan to claim the throne, and
Mm-hmm.
Macbeth, in turn, was murdered by Duncan's son, Malcolm.
Yes.
A considerable portion of Scotland's history and identity comes in its relationship with its southern neighbors, England.
Wow. I mean, wow. Is no doubt, but wow. This is Macbeth. Hold on. I remember that I read. No, no. I know there's a book. There's an expansion of the Macbeth book, right? Because I know I read a small portion of it. I know I read a small portion of it, but not the entire one, like the broad one. Why am I forgetting this? I'm so ashamed of myself to forget the names of the Macbeth, books of Shakespeare that I read in literature. Cindy. No, I'm so ashamed of myself. Thank God my mom is not close by that I'm saying this. She would be like, wait, what? Because it's so shameful. No way. Nah, we're gonna revisit. We're gonna revisit it. But yeah.
claimed the throne, and Macbeth, in turn, was murdered by Duncan's son, Malcolm. A
Mm,
considerable portion of Scotland's history and identity comes in its relationship with its southern neighbors, England.
mm.
During the Middle Ages, this relationship was mostly defined by conflict and an uneasy balance of power. Another set of invaders, the Normans, conquered England in
Normans.
1066. This caused many Anglo-Saxons from England to settle in the lowlands of Scotland.
Mm.
Scots gradually adopted English ways during this time, with clan chiefs becoming nobles and the English language merging and even replacing some of the ancient Scottish languages. Scotland thrived as trading networks grew increasingly sophisticated, leading to the growth of towns. Margaret, the heiress to the throne, died in 1290, leaving a power vacuum in Scotland and an opportunity for Edward I. At this time, the English throne had become increasingly powerful, resulting in Sir Edward I of England claiming he had
Hold on. I had to pause it here because something just came to mind. So if, according to this narrator, the Macbeth is a fictional story, right? It's fictional, right? So if, according to this narrator, the part of the story was written in Macbeth, who was who was who was this? Who was this story? The Macbeth story. Who was it referring to? I want to know. I'm curious because now it's driving curiosity to for me. So I'm definitely gonna go back to to revisit reading Macbeth, and maybe if there are lots more variations of the Macbeth, I'm definitely gonna read it. But nah.
At this time, the English throne had become increasingly powerful, resulting in Sir Edward I of England claiming he had the right to bestow Scotland's crown. He made John de Balliol the king. However, when
Okay.
Edward sought help from John in his wars against the French, John instead allied with France. This was the beginning of a 260-year alliance with England's other
What?
historical enemy, France, called the Old Alliance. In a fury, Edward crossed the Scottish borders in 1296. He took John
Mm.
prisoner and proclaimed himself the King of Scotland.
Oh,
Rising in national unity once more in the face of an external enemy, the Scots rebelled. Sir William Wallace led them. Under his leadership, they defeated the English at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297, chasing the English forces across the border.
see, if there is history, please, I'm asking, if you're Scottish and you know, or even English, and you know the story about this battle of the Stirling Bridge, I would love to learn. Maybe if there are videos also talking about it, I would also want to know how this, or know about how it went. I also want to know because there's solid history here, right? There is. But if you know about it, let me know in the comments below.
However, Edward returned the following year and routed the Scots at Falkirk. Wallace was imprisoned and brutally executed. Robert the Bruce, another glorified Highland warrior, continued the struggle and fought against the English in 1314 at Bannockburn, near Stirling
Hmm.
Castle. Finally, in 1328, Edward III formally recognized Scotland's independence. The massive global success of the Hollywood blockbuster Braveheart, in which Mel Gibson plays William Wallace in the Scottish Wars of Independence, has helped instill this seductive image of the Scottish as being valiant underdogs, capable of overturning the odds in the face of their muddy southern neighbors. While this may not always ring true, it's certain
I haven't seen this um movie film about Braveheart. I haven't seen it, but I would love to check it. I haven't seen it.
neighbors. While this may not always ring true, it certainly works as a simplistic assessment of what happened under William Wallace and Robert the Bruce's commands. Through the 15th and 16th centuries, the House of Stuart ruled Scotland. Mary Stuart, Mary Queen of Scots, became embroiled in the succession question over England's rightful ruler. Mary's position as a Catholic heir threatened Queen Elizabeth I's precarious position as Queen of England.
Oh.
England had been excommunicated by the Pope, inviting Catholics to dethrone her. Mary, having been proven to be complicit in a regicidal plot, was beheaded in 1587. Her son, King James VI of Scotland, is said to have reacted calmly to his mother's execution. Upon Queen Elizabeth's death without an heir in 1603, he became king of the separate kingdoms of England, Scotland, and Ireland. England and its globe-trotting imperial expansionism ultimately outmatched Scotland. Under Cromwell and his New Model Army, England achieved decisive victories at Dunbar in 1650 and Worcester in 1651. Scotland was thus incorporated into the Commonwealth of England. Scotland's independent clergy, parliament, and legal system were no more. In 1707, the Act of Union brought Scotland closer to Britain. It created a single parliament of the United Kingdom of Great Britain from the focal point of the Palace of Westminster. While there is a perception of Scotland being subjugated under the Union, taking a backseat role in a primarily English Westminster government, Scotland's people retained their national identity, perhaps even strengthening this in the face of perceived English superiority. As an example of this, several thinkers made an indelible mark on the modern world during the Enlightenment, while undoubtedly seeing themselves as Scottish. Figures like Thomas Hobbes, Adam Smith, Robert Burns, David Hume, and Sir Walter Scott are still lauded for their respective fields' contributions. Moving into the 20th century, Scottish regiments played significant roles in both World War I and World War II. Glasgow
Wow.
became a center for industry, contributing to economic growth in the country. A significant industrial achievement in the 60s was the successful drilling of oil in the North Sea, creating a substantial supporting industry in Scotland and gave the UK local access to oil for the first time. Today, Scotland has a clearly defined character and national identity. Clearly It has defined perpetuated character its and image to
national
attract
identity.
millions of visitors
It has
each year.
perpetuated
who
its
come for
image to
varying
attract
reasons. Millions of visitors each year.
I
who come
also
for
want to
varying
know the
reasons.
history behind their traditional costume or their traditional wear. It's not even the traditional costume; it's the traditional wear. Because that is not a costume. Why did I call it a costume? Why did I even say it was a costume? That's a traditional wear, and I love it. I want to know the history behind it. I'm sorry, I'm curious like that. I want to know the history behind it. I want to know.
Tourists come to taste its haggis and shortbread. Drink
Oh,
its
really?
whiskey. Come to taste
Delve
its
into
haggis
its
and
folk
shortbread.
history.
Drink its
Sample
whiskey. Its
Delve
outstanding
into
golf
its
courses.
folk history.
Get lost
Sample
in its
its
rugged
outstanding
mountainous
golf
highlands,
courses.
and even try
Get
to spot
lost
the
in its
elusive
rugged
Loch Ness
mountainous
monster.
highlands.
And even try to
Its
spot
people
the
have
elusive
earned a
Loch Ness
rightful
monster.
reputation for a
Its
humorous
people have
brusqueness,
earned a
a
rightful
hardy
reputation
character
for
that
its
takes
humorous
its roots from its
brusqueness.
combative
A
history
hardy
and
character
mystic
that
folklore
takes its
legends.
roots from its combative history
Scotland's
and
future
mystic
is
folklore
uncertain.
legends.
Amid growing
Scotland's
calls for
future
independence,
is uncertain.
it was granted an
Amid
independence
growing calls for
referendum in
independence,
2014.
it was granted an
By the
independence
narrowest of
referendum in
margins, the
2014.
Scottish people voted
By
to
the
stay
narrowest
within
of
the
margins,
Union.
the Scottish
This
people
decision
voted to
became
stay
even
within
more
the Union.
contentious as the UK
This
voted
decision
to leave
became
the
even
EU
more
despite
contentious as the UK
overwhelmingly
voted to leave
pro-EU
sentiments in Scotland.
despite overwhelmingly
Going forward,
pro-EU
the
sentiments
future
in
looks set
Scotland.
for more conflict
Going
between
forward,
Scotland
the
and
future
England.
looks set for
And it
more
remains to be
conflict
seen
between
whether we are
Scotland and
headed
England.
for another
And
referendum.
it remains to be seen whether
To
we are
learn more
headed
about
for another
Scottish history,
referendum.
then check out our book.
To learn
Scottish
more about
history.
Scottish history,
A captivating
then check out our
guide
book,
to the history of
Scottish
Scotland.
history.
It's available as an
guide
ebook,
to the history of
paperback,
Scotland
and audiobook.
It's available
Also,
as an ebook.
grab your free
Paperback
mythology
and
bundle
audiobook
ebook
for free
while
while
still
still available.
available.
Grab your free mythology
All-
bundle ebook for free while still
Also,
available.
thank you for sharing
All-
this. This makes total sense. I mean, comparing both videos together, this makes total sense regardless. But yeah, pardon me. I want to know the MacBook, sorry, Macbeth. Which story was it? If it was fictionalized, whose story was it? I mean, amongst all of the kings and stuff, whose story was it? I want to know. But my shamelessness would drag me to go back to go and read it. Because how the hell did I forget lots of the books written by Shakespeare that I've read? That I've read. Midsummer's Night's Dream. And Macbeth. Why do I keep calling him Macbeth? I'm trying to remember a few. Like there are some that I remember, like the pound of flesh. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. Was it the same with the Romeo and Juliet? Was it part of it? I think it was. Was it? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. No way. Hey Siri, what were the books written by William Shakespeare? Yes! Hamlet. Yes. Much ado about nothing. The Tempest. 12th Night. No. Siri. Hey Siri. What are the names of the book written by William Shakespeare? Search the web. Oh no. What's wrong with Siri? What's wrong with Siri? No. Siri. Hey Siri. What are the names of the books written by Shakespeare? William Shakespeare. Oh, search the web. Okay. What are the top 10 books? A Midsummer Night Dream, The Sonnets. I think I've read Henry Fifth. I haven't read that. I haven't read that. What shall I do about nothing? Um Hamlet and Macbeth. So hold on. So wait. Yeah, Julius Caesar. I know about that. The Merchant of Venice. Yes. So uh 12 years of age would be at about the earliest I would introduce Shakespeare. I mean, I read Shakespeare when, how old was I? Was I up to 12? I was up to 12. I started reading William Shakespeare. Wait, what? Okay, I think my spare time I'm gonna read um lots of this. Um, wait, I wanted to ask Siri a question, but I've forgotten. Hey Siri, uh, can you do a summary of Macbeth by William Shakespeare? Why do I keep saying MacBook? Wait, wait, wait. The other one is the tragedy of um Macbeth, right? The tragedy. Yes, I remember Antony and Cleopatra. Yes, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. The tragedy of Macbeth. Macbeth. Tells the story of power hungry Scottish general who, after the prophecy from three witches, murders King Duncan to see. I remember this Lady Macbeth. So who was the king? Murders King Duncan. So if this was fictionalized, which of the king was it? Which of the king was it? 16. The play believed to have been written around 1606 explores the themes of ambition, faith, power, guilt, and moral decay. Of course, power mongers. Macbeth, a brave Scottish okay, protagonist Macbeth, a brave Scottish general whose ambition leads to his tragic downfall, set in medieval Scotland. Macduff, yes. Mm, so who is Macbeth in real life? In the Scott enduring tragedies collected. Okay, so hold on. I want to know. I know I'm making this video really lengthy. Who who is Macbeth in real life? Scottish, right? The real Macbeth was Macbethad Macfie, historical 11th century king of Scots who ruled from 1040 to 1057. The villain, not the villain of Shakespeare, based his tragedy of on Macbeth's life. The historical Macbeth killed the ruling king Duncan in a battle, not in his bed. Oh, oh, oh. The difference from Shakespeare play, the historical Macbeth killed Duncan in a battle from the throne, not by murdering the elderly king in his bed. The witches are fictional elements. His reign, his 17-year reign was marked by efficient government and the promotion of Christianity. In 1050, he made a pilgrimage to Rome for a papal jubilee. Okay, okay. But I guess no, but people did not actually talk about Macbeth third McQueen, like, right? I'm sorry, I'm not even screen recording this. I don't know why I'm not even recording and showing you guys this, but I mean, this is an eye opener to get to like learn about this. I've actually not thought of this, but this is an eye opener. It makes total sense. But yeah, I'm still gonna do my findings regarding this. I don't know why I'm so excited now after realizing and finding this. Oh my god! But yeah, let me know your thoughts are in the comments below, obviously. But if there is a video that also maybe kind of like shows a relation comparison between both, I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts are in the comments below. Are you Scottish? Are you English? Are you also from any of the Scandinavian countries as well? Because lots of people may also know more about history as such, and sometimes some of these, most of these videos are just put in place to like summarize things as opposed to you learning or reading books that might also like expatiate on it. I would also love to read the expanded version of this or expanded knowledge on this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have an idea or if you've been told the history or you know about the history that was not explained here, brother, you can share that in the comments below so we can learn. I love an interactive session, so I want to learn from you as well. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.